Hi everybody, Hillary again. Here's my quick stage makeup tutorial for a smaller stage. If you're not in a big, 4,000 seat house, a smaller venue, this should work pretty great for you. I'm going to go ahead and put on my foundation. You still want to use something that's a shade or two shades a little darker than your own skin tone in order to mask some of the lights. The lights are still going to dim whatever you put on your skin much more than you probably anticipate that they are. I use a corrector because I have a lot of pink and red in my skin. I use a little bit of green on my cheeks and then on my chin to cancel out some of that red. And then I will just go ahead, since it's low, I'm going to apply it with a mini foundation brush. And just try to blend that in. You can use a finger as best you can. You'll see that it starts to dull some of that red, and this will get covered with my foundation. So obviously it's not going to look green when I'm all said and done. You can also use, if you have a lot of yellow in your skin, you can use a red corrector, and it'll balance out some of that red and make you look a little more bronzy or sun-kissed is a good word for it, so look like you've gotten a nice tan. You can get them at your local beauty supply. They usually look like like a makeup, like a lipstick stick. So I'm going to go ahead and put some on my nose since it's a little extra red today. Okay. And then right here. And there you go for that. I am going to wipe off my brush because I'm going to probably use it again in some of my other makeup application. Some toilet paper, tissue, makeup wipe. Not usually your clothes, you don't want to use that. Or if you have a towel, you can use your towel. The other thing I am going to also use is just a corrector stick. It's a normal nude stick. I'm going to wipe it under my eye. Okay. You are going to blend this in and then put a little bit up here so that you can highlight some of these areas under your foundation. I'm going to use that same brush and blend these right in. My concealer stick can also be dually used as a little bit of a primer on my eyeshadow so that whatever you put on your eyelids will stay there. Now, I know some people are uncomfortable touching their eye with stuff. The more you do this, the more comfortable you'll become with it. It won't seem as foreign or as much as that something is in your eye. Okay. Now that's just right at the top of my cheekbone, so hopefully it highlights it a little better than it would normally appear. Okay, now I have my foundation brush. You can also use a sponge, or you can use your fingers in a pinch as well. I put my foundation on the back of my hand so that I'm not using it, so I'm not touching my foundation bottle. Apply a liberal amount to your cheeks, your nose, your chin, and then again on your forehead. And then you want to quickly, so that it doesn't dry or end up with funny lines from where you've placed it initially. As much as you can, push it into your hairline without getting your hair covered in makeup. You notice I pat any of the areas that I think look a little moist while I'm doing this. Okay, and on top of my eyes. Now, I am getting some of this in my eyebrows, which I will fill in when I'm done. So you won't have to worry about not getting it in your eyebrows. Now, I pat it into my nose. I personally have really oily skin, so I want to try to pat some of that moisture out. And get it in every space I can. So hopefully I don't miss anything. And just a hint more around my lips. Now, I draw my makeup into under my chin, so it doesn't look, if I go outside, like I have a big line of a wrong color makeup. So as much as you can, and then you're going to blend it out with however you're going to apply powder. You're going to do the same thing with your powder. And I go behind my ear. If my ears feel like they look a little pinker than normal, that it's really noticeable that they might be a different color, I'll throw some makeup on my ears as well. Okay. So, went ahead and applied that. I'm going to wipe off my brush and the back of my hand. And now I use a blush brush or foundation brush, and I have a light translucent powder. I use CoverGirl. It's really simple. It's translucent, so it should go over anything. Sometimes it looks a lot lighter to some people than others. If you feel like you're extra dark and need a darker color, they do sell darker colors. You don't have to get translucent. And then pat it on. You see that I have dust falling. You don't want to use, or you don't want to be wearing a costume or whatever outfit you're going to go out in when you do this. I want to extra get it on my forehead, get extra powder on my forehead, because I know that in dancing and the stage lights, I'm going to sweat a lot. So, in order to keep my makeup on as much as possible, you want to use a lot of powder. I'm going to add a little more powder to my dish. And under my eyes. And the other trick, if you're going to wear eyeshadow, the other thing you can do is use a slanted blush brush like this and put some powder on it and then pat it under your eye. And what you're going to do is brush this off when you're done with your eyeshadow. And I'll leave you with a nice little highlight. I just pat the powder off on the back of my hand so that if I need to use the brush again, I can. So now I'm going to go into my eyeshadow and my cheeks. So I personally use a bronzer. This is Twice Baked. I actually got it at Sally's. It's their mineral version. And I use a slightly pointed blush brush, so I feel like I get a little more accurate of application. And then I pat and push, and I look at my brush to see how much product I have on there. See how, so that I don't hopefully have to do it a second time. Okay, so now roughly that's about, you see the regular side of the brush, and that's how much product I have on there. I'm going to pat at where roughly where my nose straight across from my nose where the apple of my cheek is, and then push up. If you need to figure out, like, you can make squinty faces or the apple, the fishy face, so you can see where your cheek should be. And then, but you have a little bit of a swoop right here is what you're looking for. And then it should almost connect to your hairline. The same thing on the other side. You can blend with your fingers if you feel something is not the right density. So if it looks too dark or too thick for you, go ahead and use that. The other trick you can use is use a blush brush and try to brush some of it out. Okay. And then I'm going to pat the excess of that powder onto my hand. And now I'm going to use a little bit of a pink blush to add a little rosiness to my cheeks. I don't just use the pink. I think it looks really pink from an audience perspective, where you want to naturally highlight facial features. And I just pat this in. I don't want to rub off the bronzer that I've already put on. And then the other side. Okay. And now the quick trick that I tend to use, I have a wider eyelid, so I can do this. If you don't have a wider eyelid, you'll want to use an eyeshadow brush. Pat a little bit of powder onto my slanted brush and use it to add some shadow to my eyes. Now do the other one. Okay. Now, I'm also going to add some white to my eyelids so that they pop a little more. So I have a little duo that has a brown and a white. I'm just going to use the white, and I'm going to use my round little compressed brush. And I'm going to get a liberal amount of product on there and pat it into my brush. And then I'm going to put it at my eyebrow line. So you're going to put it at the bottom of your eyebrow. I'm going to wipe that off because I mixed it into my eyeshadow a little bit. And now I'll do the other one. The other thing you can do is you can also use a white pencil and buff it out with your fingertip so that it blends in nicely. Now I'm going to use a different brush. I have a slanted brush right here. No, I'm sorry, I'm not going to use a slanted brush. I have a rounded tip brush that's smaller. I'm going to still use the white. Get some product on there. And then I'm going to put a little bit in here in the corner of my eye and the bottom line underneath the bottom of my lashes. Now when I put mascara on, you'll probably be able to see that a little better to see what I'm talking about here. If you don't feel like the white is shiny enough, you can add a little more. Okay, there we go. Now, if you have an extra makeup brush in your brushes and you want to brush off some of the product that's in your eyebrows, just brush it out. Or you can use a clean mascara wand to do the same thing. Now I'm going to use a pencil that I've already pre-sharpened. Lighter skinned, I use a toast or nutmeg so that you can still see them. It's brown. You don't necessarily need to use a black. If you don't have strong eyebrow lines already, if you point your pencil from the inside of your nose, that's where your eyebrow should start, and you can do that on both sides. And then if you angle it at like a 90-degree angle, about there should be where your eyebrow is going to end when you're done. Okay? You want to take light strokes to fill in that bottom line. And then my eyebrows come to a point, so I want to make sure that that is still pointed and not too round. There we go. Now the other side. If you get a little too far, you can use a white sponge and just buff out wherever you got too far, or if you're still a little moist, you can rub it off with your finger. Okay. So now that same brush I used for the white, the smaller, skinnier brush, okay. Make sure there's not a lot of white in it. And I'm going to go ahead and buff out the line so it doesn't look like I drew them on with a pencil. Okay. Add a little bit up here and wipe that off. Same thing over here. Okay. And then I'm going to use a clear gel, an eyebrow gel, and just put it over my eyebrows. So that it combs them all into the same direction. Okay. I'm also going to throw on some fake eyelashes. You don't necessarily need to do fake eyelashes. For myself, I do use them. You want to curl your eyelashes before you put them on. Okay. Personally, what I tend to use are tweezers to put eyelashes on. Try to grab a little bit away from the center. Now this one will go on this eye. And then I put it on the strip itself, the glue on the strip. You don't want to go straight into putting it on your eye. You do want to try to have it get a little tacky so it's like sticky. And then you'll go ahead and place it on your eyelid. So not on your eyelashes, but on your eyelid. And now I'm going to grab the inside of almost the inside corner so that I can start here, so that I have good spacing away from the corner of my eye that I'm comfortable when I'm wearing them. Okay. Then I turn my tweezers around and push that down into my lash line. You're going to see that that you feel that they're blending into your regular lashes so that it doesn't look like you have a big space in between. Oops. That can happen. If it does and you feel you don't have enough glue, add a little more glue. Do the same thing again. And then, okay. Okay, so you see that it's still white. You want to leave it till it's clear, and then you'll be able to put on mascara and eyeliner. I'm going to go ahead and do the other one. And then just try to push it into your lash line so you don't have a lot of space between your real eyelashes and the fake eyelashes. Now, I don't know if you can tell, I can tell that I'm sweating. So if you already have makeup on, you want to pat the moisture off your skin and not wipe. And then you want to put your cap back on your glue so that it doesn't dry out on you. Okay. Normally I would go on to put on my eyeliner. I'm going to wait until it's a little more dry, so I will go ahead and do my lipstick. If you have really small lips, a little lipstick brush is really handy. So instead of putting it on, you can line your lips first. Okay. I see that I have 2 points here, and if I do this, it looks kind of round, but if you follow your lip, it should still do what your lips naturally do. And then just draw them down into the corners. Okay, same thing on the bottom, but I start on the outside instead of on the inside. And then I make my line really thin in the middle. Okay. Add a little more and then fill them in. Now since this is for stage, you want to make sure that you've covered most of your lip and that when you smile, you're not going to see natural colored lip. You'll see the lipstick. So smile and check. Okay, we're good. And then just check for any spots that look out of place. Okay. Now, my eyelashes look dry for the most part. This is where probably the most glue is, and that's why it's still kind of white. What I'm going to do so that they don't come straight out is curl them again. Start in from the corner. Blink so that you get the whole lash in there. And then just press your regular lashes into the fake ones. That way, hopefully, you don't have any seeing issues trying to see out of your eye when you have fake eyelashes on. And then put on mascara, since you probably have some makeup on your regular lashes. And that way they'll blend in real nicely to your fake eyelashes. And then just press them. If you feel there's a spot that looks out of place, push it, or see what you need to do to make yourself feel comfortable with what's on. Okay, and then I'm going to add some to the bottom. If you don't have really long bottom eyelashes, you can always just fill them in with a black pencil. And I would use black mascara or black eyeliner so that it stands out. And then I've already pre-sharpened my pencil, and I'm going to dull down the tip a little bit and put some on right here. If I don't think it's right and dark enough, I'll buff it down a little more. The other trick, if you're using a slightly cheaper pencil, is you can make it warm with a lighter. So it almost melts a little bit, but it'll make it a lot more pliable for you to apply. Okay. Now, for eyeliner, you actually don't want to pull your eye too taut. You just want it so that, and I start in the middle, you want it so that you have a straight line. Okay, and then I'll connect it to where I drew out right here. My eyelash lifted, so I'll push that back down. Now for in the inside, I am going to pull it really taut. Okay, now the other eye. There you go, and my eyeliner is now done. I'm going to go ahead and recurl my eyelashes since I feel like putting on my eyeliner pushed them out of place a little bit. And you don't want to press too hard. There we go. And there you go. That's your really simple stage makeup. I hope this was helpful. And if you guys have any questions, please just let me know. Thank you.